The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
Rates may apply.
All right, back on the Domino's post-game report as Carson-Newman triumphs over the Emory and Henry Wasps by a final score of 37-7. I'm Adam Cavalier, the voice of the Eagles, alongside Carson-Newman head football coach Mike Clowney. Mike, pick something for the most part. It went right for your team in this game. Dominated offensively, dominated defensively, made some nice plays in special teams outside of a pick and a muffed snap on a PAT. Not a whole lot to complain about in this one. What you see from your team in a dominant four-quarter victory over Emory and Henry today?
I think the big thing we talked about all week is owning the field. And that starts when you step on the field and just kind of take control of the football game and keep control of the football game. I'm proud of them in a sense to where, like, they kind of took that to heart. I thought, when you go look at the rushing numbers, I thought we did a good job on the ground. Proud of the way we ran the football. That always kind of entails guys up front. I thought they did kind of expanded and continued to go from where we were last week. That's where we talked about continuing to have that growth and development. Had a couple big plays in the air. Zane did a good job today kind of controlling the offense. So offensively, good day. Defensively, I think those guys kind of stayed steady Eddie with what they've been doing. Was able to continue to keep pressure on the quarterback. Had a couple of little runs early, but, really kind of being able to control them on the ground. And I just thought overall they did a good job. And then the special teams part of it, having Christian Irwin back, that makes a difference when that, they're probably not going to get a return. I think we kicked the first one out of bounds, and they got one that they had an opportunity to return. So that's a big plus, being able to have that factor back into the game. Major big kick punt return early in the game to kind of set up field position for the first score. So, we were able to tie it together pretty good today.
It's an interesting game. You really didn't dominate field position. Not a ton of short fields. You had to score on a 90-plus yard field and did. But the offense just consistently moved the ball. You averaged more than 5 yards a carry. You kind of touched on it. The passing game was massive when you did go to the air. 5 different guys catch a pass that's longer than 20 yards. How much of what was successful about the offense today is owed to the balance of the offense?
I think the big thing, our guys are finally, we've talked about this all year, just kind of getting to the point to where they're comfortable with what we're doing. And you can see it start showing up in practice to where we're a lot more productive. We're not having to go back and reteach a lot of stuff. And so that part of it, them kind of having a better concept of exactly what we're doing is starting to show up on the field, and then, it's starting to show up on the scoreboard.
The defense gives up 2 passes that go for more than 35 yards. Emory and Henry had 73 yards on those 2 pass plays. You take away those 2 pass plays, you limit Emory and Henry to 7 first downs and less than 100 yards of offense. The sack streak of 5 sacks or more came to an end today at 4. But pressure was on Charles Mutter all day long. Never let him get comfortable. What'd you see out of that side of the football, especially getting pressure with 4- and 5-man rushes?
Yeah, I think that was a big key to the game, was being able to get the pressure. A lot of times he was able to kind of get away and get the ball out of his hand. Even a couple times that we didn't actually get him on the ground, we got a couple decent shots on him before. He got the ball out of his right before he got his ball out of his hand or right there at it. And so I thought the guys did a good job up front of just kind of not allowing him to be comfortable.
The offense, Tyree Nelson, 14 carries for 91 yards, 3 catches for 41 yards, goes over triple digits in terms of total offense. He has played sensationally since fumbling a kickoff in the end zone at Erskine. I say this with Halloween 3 days away. Man-possessed comes to mind. What did you see out of your sophomore all-conference running back?
It's been fun watching him kind of return to form, like kind of what we expected from him all year. His focus is there. The intensity's there. And just all of those guys in the running back room, it's fun to watch them start compete in a healthy fashion. To where, Tyree get a couple runs. I don't think he got in the end zone today. And that's where TC comes out, and he's like, I'll take over here,
You know what I like? That you had so many guys touch the football that Tyree Nelson did get in the end
zone.
He did. The 2-yard touchdown run. Goal line situation. Your first score was a long time ago, but Tyree did get in the end zone.
Because I started thinking about it, I was like, I don't know if he scored today. But a lot of really big runs, hard runs, physical runs. But like I say, those guys up front did a good job of creating situations for them to be able to do it.
You unfortunately faced adversity this week. Jalen Myers ruled ineligible in the middle of the week. The theme this year, you've said it frequently, unshakable through that adversity. What did you see from your team and Zane Whitson through the ups and downs of that situation?
I don't know who picked this theme, but I'm pretty much over it. Yeah, but we're going to continue. We're going to continue to work to be unshakable. But I think the big thing for us is some of our kids, this may be the first time that they really know kind of what's happening. They know Jalen hadn't practiced this week, and I'm sure they've communicated. So, the thing that we've done is you try to keep things as normal as possible for them, to where they can kind of continue to stay the course. You try to continue to have the next man up mentality. I thought Zane did a good job today coming in, having an opportunity to play the whole entire football game and know it was his. I thought he did a good job with that.
Always nice in games like this to see guys get run who haven't gotten run before. Mason Brang, first career completion. Wonderful to see the South Doyle product operate the offense in the fourth quarter, and a whole lot of other guys see some significant playing time in the final 15 minutes.
Mason's one of those guys when you look down the road 10, 15 years from now, and even just today, when you say what is Carson-Newman football all about, I think he's an absolute picture of that, and to be able to see him, be able to get the ball out of his hand and complete a pass today, getting the game early. He's a guy that's one of the most unselfish people I've ever met. He's a phenomenal teammate. Every day he shows up to work. He's got a great attitude. I mean, he is the picture of, a Carson-Newman Eagle, and it was good to be able to see him have some success on the field.
Turn your attention now to one road game, one home game to close out the year. You're at Wise next week. You get Catawba, presumably Catawba, the banks of Mossy Creek on November 11th. You're literally in the same spot you were last year, record-wise. But it feels like this team is trending upward as you would want any team to as the year closes out. What do you see? What do you hope to see from your team these final 2 weeks of the year? Always tough to go to Carl Smith Stadium at a noon kick against UVA Wise, and Catawba has one of the most dynamic passing attacks in this region.
We've got two good football teams in front of us, and the thing that we've got to do is we've got to come here Monday and go from day to day and continue to work to get better, and then go up the Wise and try to put our best effort on the field at 12 o'clock up there, and then do the same thing here, presumably against Catawba the next week. So it's really still, about us and continue to push the needle forward for us.
I do want to step backward before we let you go because I highlighted Mason Brang offensively. He wasn't in the game in mop-up time, but Martavis Mason was all over the place on your front four today. 4 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, a sack and a half. 96 South Carolina, 96 miles from Columbia, but if Columbia is where Charles Mutter lives, Martavis Mason was in his face. What did you see from your freshman, D. lineman?
He's been fun to watch. That's why I call him 9'6". I was always talking about the number. He wound up living there, and the number kind of works out in his favor. But, he has been a pleasure to watch from day one. And then just his effort, his attitude, his energy, man, he is going to be a fun player, I think, for us here at Carson down the road.
Mike Clowney, happy homecoming. Congrats on a 37-7 win over Emory and Henry.
Thank you.
That is Carson-Newman head football coach Mike Clowney. Still a lot to come on the Domino's postgame report. We've got your drive summaries. We've got conversations with Tyree Nelson, Colt Siner, Zane Whitson, Martavis Mason, and Christian Hicks, all headed your way. Party after a big 30-point win on homecoming. Back after this on the Eagle Sports Network.